Hello everybody and welcome to another ZvP brought to you by me, ViBE, with Sapien, our resident Zerg Sapien. This is another Nydus all-in. This is the ZvP version. I do not know exactly how this is going to go for Sapien. I don't know what he's going to do, but basically the goal here is I'm going to help him improve his Nydus all-in in ways that it would make more sense. Alright, so once again we're going for I don't like this again. I think it just has so much more power if you go hatch first and then Nydus. We'll see though, we'll see how you go about it. The only time I would ever agree to a build like this would be if the natural is really wide open. If there is ever a map and a map pool where, let's say this was not the natural. Let's say like this was what the natural looked like. It's just fucking really exposed. Hypothetically. Most maps are not designed like this anymore. But let's just say, hypothetically, the natural was really exposed like this. An example would be like if you're someone from Wings of Liberty and you remember like Metalopolis. You guys remember that map? You guys remember Metalopolis? Your natural looked like this. It was just wide open. If a map had a wide open natural like that, I think this would make more sense because you could actually go for speedlings first and you could deny and delay their natural and be really fucking annoying at the front of their base because you have a lot of surface area to use. Meanwhile, you could then Nydus them as well, and then you could expand a little bit later, but you could still Nydus them eventually, and then you could just like harass in the front and then Nydus the back. It would make sense then. Basically, if you're going to do multi-prong, it would make sense. If you're not going to do multi-prong, I don't think this makes any sense because it just weakens the power of the one push. And it's the same exact thing again. With the way the gas is lined up, there's going to be no queen. Otherwise, you're going to have really inefficient gas. I understand that, like, the logic here. So I've had some people in my stream before get obsessed with this. And some people, they get the wrong idea. And they go, ViBE, the more powerful the Nydus is based off of the quicker it hits their base. Yeah. And then they think to themselves, well, if I could just speed up the Nydus in some way, I just need to figure out how to make this Nydus hit even faster, and it increases the power of my build. And that's not necessarily true. Because the more corners you cut to increase the speed of your Nydus, the easier it is for a good player to read that's what you're doing and go, wow, this guy has fucking nothing. Like if this guy walks an adept over here, okay? Here's an example. This guy's got a probe scout right now. Right? Where is his there it is. He's got a probe scout. He's going to come scout you with a probe. Let's say he makes an adept. Okay, pretend this was a core, all right? And he makes an adept, and he walks the adept over here, and he just shades like into your main base while walking towards your natural, or he shades towards his natural. And my point is he sees with his first adept that will guaranteed be at your base before the Nydus is done. In his like by quite a bit, it'll give him like a minute to prepare, and he sees 0 drones and 0 queen, 0 drones, 0 drones, 0 drones. If I'm playing that, or if a good player is playing that, they're immediately going to be like, why are you making 0 economy? And you are all-inning this, like you are going to be all in. And then let's say he has an adept once again go shade right here. It shades, and it shades just to the hatchery, and it sees a layer morphing or a layer that's already done, and you're still 1 base economy. That's a dead giveaway that you're going to Nydus all in him. Like, what would be the point of going for a really fast layer rush Mutalisk build off of one base of gas. That would be the most awful build ever. You could warp in 3 stalkers and kill that. It'd be like 2 mutas would show up. Or, you know, he, what would be the other options? 1 base Hydra, or 1 base Lurker, 1 base Infestor. 1 base Lurker would be super delayed. He would be able to scout that as well eventually, or he, you know, he would have plenty of time to prepare for that. But my point is the build that makes the most sense, the build that actually makes logical sense, if you would scout something like that, would be you're going to Nydus him. That is, and also the fact that you would then also have Speedlings eventually. And also the other thing too is if he, let's say he shades in here and he sees your layer done and he sees a pool that's morphing Zergling speed. That's another dead giveaway right there, that you're going for a Speedling Nydus all in. It's just like things like this, the good players will pick up on. And they'll be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to prepare for a Nydus. I'm just going to deny it. And then there's multiple ways that Protoss can do that. One way would be he could make Stalkers and flat out just kill the Nydus. Another way would be he could make Adepts and absorb the Zerglings with like a shield battery. But either way. The build, my point I'm trying to make here is the more corners you cut, the more obvious the build is, and the weaker it becomes because you give your opponent more of a preparation to defend it. That's just how it goes. It's like it's becoming obvious the more corners you cut. And also the more corners you cut to get the speed of the Nydus out, obviously the less units you have, not only because it's earlier in the game, but because you're kind of stunting your own build as well. It's not just, oh, well, I'm hitting it 3 minutes instead of 4 minutes, so obviously I have less units. If you take a gas the way you did, and you take a late natural, you delay your own larva, which means you have less units. Either way, like you're having less of everything. Not only because of time, but also because of your build. It does not support good production. You know what I mean? And he gets into your base. He sees the layer. He should know what's happening already. Late natural, fast layer. Like, this is not a meta thing. This should not be a fake. Like this, even if it was, even if you reacted to this by going, I'm gonna cancel it, you've already committed the gas to this so heavily that it would be stupid to cancel it. So obviously you don't, and you still Nydus him. But my point is that it's still so easily scouted. Like it's very likely to be scouted. The mistake this guy's making is he's trying to rely everything on buildings and not on units. It's impossible for him to defend 2 bases at the same time if you're going to focus all of your attack on 1 base. Like this is never going to hold. And once again, your opponent's making the same mistake. Do you remember what I said a second ago? Or for the stream, it's a second ago. For YouTube, I said it in a different video. I said, do not... If you're the guy defending a Nydus worm, you should never attack the Nydus if you have 0 intentions of killing the Nydus before it's done. And that gets reinforced even more if the Nydus has units that come out of it that are faster than units that you're attacking it with. And we all know a Speedling is much faster than a probe. So what's going to happen now is all of these probes are going to die. And his Nydus is going to be alive still. It makes absolutely no sense. Okay, so he's already lost like 3 or 4 probes. He lost 4 probes. And one of those probes is also about to die again. One of those probes took half its damage and shields. And another one took half damage and shields. My point is he just... wasted mining time, and he also wasted 4 probes, soon to be 6 or 7, because he decided to do, 84 damage to a Nydus worm out of 300. Like, it didn't fucking accomplish anything. It literally accomplished nothing for the Protoss. It actually, all that happened was he just did you a favor by not mining minerals and losing some probes. It accomplished literally nothing. If he would have just kept mining, he could have actually made it like a 3rd cannon. If this guy is basing his entire defense off of cannons and batteries. If a Protoss player ever does this, what you should do as a response to this is you should get your lings kind of how they are, and the second they're like this, hit hold position. Because right now what your lings are doing is they're trying to attack the cannon. And they're being really stupid. And he's hold position microing his probes around the cannon. If you attack the cannon, your lings get all, like, you know, get shoved around by the probes and get stuck outside, and then you then hold position. The lings will then attack whatever's closest to them, which will be the probes. And you just reissue that command every, like, 1 or 2 seconds, because your lings will also be dying at the same time. But you'll get rid of the probes a lot faster that way. And this is my point, though, as well, where this guy is basing his entire defense off of a forge. And like I said, there's no way he's going to have enough to defend everything. Because even if, here's the thing, right? Even if this guy put a battery, cannon. Let's say he put like 3 cannons here and like 2 batteries here. Or 4 cannons here and 2 batteries here. And let's just say, hypothetically, you saw that and went, good fucking god, that's so much. This is too much. I can't kill that, actually, right now. I'm just going to chill for a second. And your lings, instead of attacking here, they just back off and they go like this. Down the ramp and go right here. And suddenly he doesn't have enough money to defend everything like that. Trying to defend this with cannons is a mistake. But this guy did a forge opener really early because he wanted to go for cannons into Stargate. That's just how he's playing the game. That's how he likes to play Protoss, I guess. So your build order is like a hard counter to his build order because you Nydus all in him before he could even get anything off the ground. So it doesn't really matter how it goes. But your build order just countered his. But yeah. I don't know. That's why the game's over now. It's like you went rock and he went scissors. But yeah. Going for static D is not the greatest. I think making a couple shield batteries is really nice, but he really, the second he saw with his probe, right here, he saw it really early. The second he saw this with his probe, he should have immediately, I would say honestly, cancel this fucking cannon. And make another gateway. Maybe even make 2 more gateways. So, okay, so you like Hatch first and ZvP 2. I like Hatch first in every single matchup. Your build is the same exact problems from the ZvT one. Apply exactly the same to the ZvP. It just has weaker power. Because you have less. That's the biggest reason of all is you just have less coming through the Nydus. Like, repeatedly. You will always have less coming through. Your first timing might hit like 15 seconds faster or 20 seconds faster than the other build. But you will always have less. And if your opponent scouts and just reacts properly, they should be able to defend what you have. Imagine this, okay? Imagine this. Imagine if this Protoss went, oh, okay. The Zerg's rushing a layer. I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to make a gateway and another gateway. I'm going to have 3 gates. And then, right now, he starts a Twilight Council. He just starts a Twilight Council. And then he's making Adepts. He's starting Adepts now off of 3 gates. And he gets a Warp Gate. But he literally just makes Adept. And by the time you attack him, he has like 3 rounds of Adepts off of 3 gates, which means he has like 9 Adepts. And then he, you know, and then like we'll say like he's making 3 Adepts right now. And then he's making another like 3 Adepts again right now. And as he starts making the shield batteries, instead of making a Stargate, he makes like 1 shield battery here like he did at his natural. And then he makes like 2 shield batteries in his main, like 1 here and like 1 here, which he totally could have afforded if he didn't make a cannon here, a Stargate. Let's say he makes like two batteries in the main, 1 battery in the natural, and he's still making Adept off of 3 gates. His Warp Gate finishes shortly after. I think he even like delayed his Warp Gate. Did he? Yeah, he delayed his warp gate like by probably like 12 seconds or 15 seconds or something. And then let's say he makes he's actually chrono boosting out resonating glaives for adepts. The attack speed upgrade for adepts. And then he just sits here. He doesn't ever attack the Nydus because the adepts are not going to kill the Nydus. If a player realizes how to react properly and they instead of going for a defense right at the Nydus worm itself, which most people think the way you defend a Nydus is you kill the Nydus. That's how most people think about it, right? They're like, I don't want that thing going up in my base. But if this guy just realized your build has less power because it is a faster rushed Nydus, the chances of him killing the Nydus are going to go down really hard. But the chances of him defending the Nydus are going to go up really hard. And the way that makes sense is he defends in a favorable position for himself, like with shield batteries against buildings that he can SimCity or Zerglings against. Like if your Lings are flooding into a choke point and he's got shield battery adepts that are just killing your Lings quite cost efficiently, it's going to be good for Protoss. But if he comes out in the middle of nowhere and fights you in the middle of the open with no type of SimCity and your Lings just get full surrounds and shit, it's going to be very bad for him then. It's the exact same thing with the Terran. All he had to do was make a bunker. If you remember what I was talking about, he makes a bunker. And then he's got his units defending around the bunker. He can repair the bunker. Same thing. He cost efficiently kill the Lings as they come into like this like choke point area. But your build, once again, the exact same build I said a second ago for ZvT, which is 17 hatch, 17 hatch, 17 or 18 pool, and like a 20 gas. Because what'll happen is, once again, what'll happen is, the pool finishes, your queen starts. The second the queen's done, your layer starts. There's no downtime in between. If your gas is started around 50% of the way of your pool's completion. And then you immediately start a Nydus when your layer's done. And you also start Zergling speed, you know, along the way. When your layer's on the way. And during this process, you'll have more larvae to work with, which means you could make more drones, you could make more Lings, you could make more drones and queens, or you could just make a shitload more Lings. Because you'll have 2 queens, and 2 queens can also zone out his scouts way better. Like if you had queens instead of a layer, like as fast as it was, your layer would. Because look at this, okay, look at this. The build time of a queen is 36 seconds, right? 36 seconds. That is how delayed your Nydus is going to be, and not even though, because. Look at this, okay? 36 seconds is... If this was to be perfect... Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at it this way. Watch this. I want to show you guys something. This is the one base Nydus build. So... the pool just finished. It's at 1 minute and 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to hopefully blow your mind right now. 1 minute, 30 seconds is when... But actually, before we get into this, let me just say my build really quick, okay? That we're talking about. When you go 17 hatch and like 18 pool, okay? We'll say 17 hatch, 18 pool. The second the pool finishes, your queen starts. The second the queen starts, your layer starts. The second the layer's done, your Nydus starts. There's no like downtime, dead time in between these processes. It's not like you're waiting for something to happen, okay? It will always start when the next thing finishes. When the previous thing is done, it immediately starts the next one. Because it is a more efficient build. Now, let's look at this. The pool just finished at 1:30. And let's look at how much time starts, or how much time goes by before the layer starts. 17 seconds. Okay, so 17 seconds for the first part. You started your layer at 147. Now, oh, my bad. Go back. I want to see when the layer is done, and then see when we start the Nydus worm. Layer's done. 244. Okay, 244. Let's look at the time now. Until we see a Nydus worm. So 253. So that's 244 to 253. That's 9 seconds. 9 seconds. Okay. So 17 plus 9 is 26. So a queen's build time is 36 seconds. And your build does not hit perfect timers because it has these, you're cutting corners and you don't have the money and everything to do it perfectly all the time. And your build, even though you're going for like what you think is the fastest possible Nydus you can go for, you have 26 seconds of inefficiency between when your pool is done to when your Nydus starts. So it's very similar timed is what I'm trying to tell you. Like this build is not going to hit a Nydus 3 minutes faster or 2 minutes faster. It's going to hit a Nydus seriously within like a 20-second window of the other build. But the other build just has, it flows because you have more larva early and queens. And it's not even like you're going mass, you don't have to go mass queens either. You can go mass queens if you go drone heavy. Like I was saying, you could do like 30 lings and like 6 queens, or you could do like 2 queens and like 50 lings. Anyways, go back up to where we just were. Looks like you won the game though, because this guy looks like he died. Yeah, the game's just over. All the probes are dead, so even if you were to like not even kill him from here, this is terrible for Protoss in the top left. That's not good. This is not winnable anymore. And also another thing too that's really nice. Every single time you Nydus somebody, always put a creep tumor down in their base. Always. Every single time do that. Because there is no guarantee you're always going to win the game if you do builds like this. But at the very least, something that is very useful and good to do would be if you at least covered his base in creep so that everything you kill, he cannot rebuild. And he has to, like if this was, let's just say this guy actually had enough cannons to defend his natural. Let's just hypothetically say that. He's got like fucking 5 cannons here and his natural won't die to your lings. And then now he's making void rays off of the Stargate. If you had a creep tumor here and you killed his entire main, he could not re-expand to his main until he then decided to make a robo or an oracle and detected the creep tumors, which would be just annoying as fuck. It would just delay him even more. And all it takes for you to do that is put a creep tumor down, which you could have afforded easily with your queen. Well, your queen's going to die with a lot of energy instead. Obviously, the game's over, but I'm just saying in general, it's a good thing to do that. But yeah. Like, there's not really too much... like, I feel like this build is almost all in the build order. There's really not a whole lot of analysis we can do talking about, like about the only analysis I feel like I can give you is, like, the creep tumor thing I just told you about, and also the lings on hold position. If he's surrounding his buildings, hold positioning your lings when your lings are also touching all the probes, is very good because it makes your lings kill the probes, like, quite efficiently. Like right here, when all your lings are just kind of like running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They're only smacking probes a little bit here and there. So like if you just hit hold position like right now, all these probes would get smacked for like tons of damage. Like each probe would be getting hit by 1 or 2 lings, in each area. And this shield battery would deplete energy within like 2 seconds. And now you did it. You did it just, like, this is actually the thing we always talk about. You always do what I say, you just do it a little too late. Because you literally just did it. And you saw when you did it, the probes just fucking evaporated. Look at when the lings stop dancing around and they can stop and hold position. Watch how fast the probes will start dying. Yeah. So do that in the future faster. And otherwise, good stuff. I don't understand why hold position. Look. What do we have here, okay? Let me explain to you StarCraft AI. What do we have here? We have a nexus. We have buildings. We have a nexus, a simulator, a pylon, battery, a cannon. And then what units do we have here? We have probes. There's no zealot here. There's no fucking gateway unit. It's probes and buildings. Okay? Now here's the thing about melee units and the way they're designed in the game. Or like all units in the game. Okay? So when you attack, if you auto attack, if you say I'm going to A move the ground right here, or I'm going to A move the ground right here, I'm going to A move the area anywhere in this fucking green box, you're going to A move your lings right now, okay? The Zerglings, if they A move the area over here, they're going to attack the hostile target. And there's only one hostile target in the area right now. There could be a lot more, depending on what the probes do. But right now, the only hostile target is this. The photon cannon. So every single Zergling, when one Zergling gets attacked, or when the cannon is within range of aggro, and aggro range for a unit is about, from this Zergling right here, it's about this far away, by the way. It's like 4 range. 3 to 4 range is aggro radius. Which means if I have a Zergling right here, okay? If my Zergling is in the green box right now, and I say, A move up here, if that Zergling that's right there runs in an area close to this assimilator, if it's in aggro range of the assimilator, it will stop going to where I told it to, and it will split off and attack the gas. If it is not within aggro range, if it is like, if the guy, let's just say the aggro range was like right there, and it barely missed the gas, well, the Zergling would run all the way up then to where I told it to go, because nothing detoured, nothing made it detour on its A move command. A move always has aggro radius, and it always reacts to a hostile target. And also, aggro radius gets increased in a way where if I have a cannon right here, and let's say there's a Zergling right here. Let's say all these lings are right here, okay? Let's just say this green box is a bunch of Zerglings. And that photon cannon that is currently next to the Nexus shoots a Zergling inside of this green box. Even though the aggro radius of these lings would be about this far, and it's not enough to aggro onto the cannon, if a cannon shoots these units, a ranged unit shooting unit is a whole new aggro radius mechanic, to where if the cannon shoots right here, it will aggro everything that it shoots in a box around that target about this large. The only time this does not apply is if you get shot from something that is currently in fog of war. Hopefully that makes sense though. Anyways, and also if the unit is just like really far away, but the aggro radius gets, like, if the unit's on A move, it will redirect itself to the thing that shoots it. Okay, now hopefully you guys understand that part. Now the other part is a probe A probe is a unit that can be multi-purpose. A probe is a unit that goes from neutral to hostile. If a probe is mining minerals, it is neutral. If a probe is on stop command, it is neutral. If a probe is on move command, it is neutral. If a probe, or is not a probe, but if a worker is repairing, it is hostile. And if a worker, so SCVs are the only ones that apply to that. And if a worker is on a move, it is hostile. So if these probes were to go attack the Zerglings, all the Zerglings would attack the probes. They would fight each other, basically. However, if these probes right-click this photon cannon and then hit hold position, they're on hold position. They're just sitting there. They're neutral. They do not get attacked by Zerglings. Only when your Zerglings get stuffed into a situation where they're like stuck and they can't move anymore, sometimes the AI will start smacking a probe. Well, like one Zergling might start smacking a probe. Because the Zergling it's registering that Zergling is literally stuck in its place. It cannot move and try to get to the cannon anymore because it is literally stuck. And it will start smacking something nearby because the AI starts trying to fix itself from getting out of being stuck. It's the exact same way like tower defense works whenever something goes through like a maze in like StarCraft as well in custom games. The AI will literally try to keep attacking the hostile unit until it gets stuck. And then it will attack like a probe if it's nearby, even though the probe is not hostile. But a lot of Zerglings won't get stuck. A lot of Zerglings will keep kind of going left and right trying to get to the cannon. So if you actually just tell your Zerglings to hold position when the probes are blocking you from getting to the cannon, even though your Lings are touching the probes, the Zerglings will then stop going, let's attack the hostile unit, and instead let's attack what's directly next to us, no matter what it is. Because you then make every Zergling get stuck. That's effectively what you're doing when you tell your unit to hold position. You stick them to where they are. So then every probe that is next to every Ling will start getting smacked just because it's the only thing within range. And that's why hold position makes sense. You don't have, but the thing is you don't want to just hold position and never touch it again, because if the cannon is going to kill the closest targets to it. So if the cannon kills the close like 4 Lings here, and now you have a bunch of Lings that are hold positioning in this little choke point that are literally doing fucking nothing, other than getting shot by a cannon, that's just kind of silly. That doesn't make any sense. So that's why I said the perfect way to micro this would be to A move, let your Lings shove up against where the cannon would be, which is where all the probes are blocking, and as soon as they're close, you hold position. And like 2 seconds later, you reissue that command. You re-A move them, get your Lings that have died to like the new one, the Lings behind the ones that have died to replace the positions. You get all over the probes again, you hold position. And you just kill the probes fucking insanely fast. And then you also would deplete the shield battery really quickly too, so you just get rid of this whole defense quickly. You can see the Zerglings are not on hold position when they're dancing around and staggering all over the place. Like right here. Look at the Lings just dancing and shit. They're not on hold position. And some of them are getting stuck here and there, and they're smacking a probe here and there. But the second they hold position, which is right now, all the probes start just fucking popping left and right. And now they're on A move again. But now there's enough probes off the cannon to where it doesn't matter. And here's another thing with aggro radius. Notice how the cannon is going to shoot the closest targets to it. And you remember what I said? How the cannon has like a green box of hostile? The cannon is shooting Zerglings over here right now. And Zerglings over here are currently getting stuck out of the way, and they're also smacking the probes now because the hostile target is not shooting them. But you can see that they're still... The cannon is still the hostile thing, so the Lings are not jumping all over these probes as well the whole time. They are trying to squeeze in, but then when they squeeze in, you know, the Lings start pushing themselves out and shit as well every time, because the units in StarCraft stack and they spread, stack and spread. And when the units kind of spread out again, they start smacking some of the probes on the side. Like that probe and et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, yeah, you get my point. Hopefully you get my point. But yeah, that's just to give a recap so no one's confused here if someone just came to the end of the video. The build overall could be more efficient, but the idea of the build of going Queen Ling, Nydus, fast all in is fine. I just think the build should be 17 hatch, 18 pool, gas when the pool is 50% of the way done, which will be about 20 gas. Double queen, and then you go layer, and then immediately go into a Nydus worm, and then you Nydus him. And you start zergling speed after you start the layer. And that's the build. That's the whole build. It's a very basic build. Its build is like a build that lasts for about 3 minutes, and then you're done. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this enlightened some of you on some of the Nydus techniques, tactics, whatever. But shout out to Sapien once again for another replay analysis, and I will see. And if you guys want to see more, I have a Terran one and a Protoss one, as well as this. Or sorry, I have a Terran one and a Zerg one, as well as this Protoss one that I just recently uploaded at the same time as this Protoss one. Go check them out if you're interested. See you guys in the next video. Peace, everybody. Bye bye. See ya.